Kim Gon, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Mina Son. It is truly a great honor for me to host today's Latin Plaza. Today's event will be presented in English. I would like to welcome and thank all those who join us today in the midst of COVID-19. Today's Latin Plaza is held with limited number of participants attended in accordance with social distancing rule, with an aim to prevent the further spread of COVID-19. Please keep in mind to wear facial masks all throughout the event in this conference room, and be careful to maintain the proper distance between the seats. Thank you very much. Deputy Minister Kim Gon, Mr. Bruno Figueroa, Ambassador of Mexico in Korea, along with ambassadors of the diplomatic corps in Seoul, are with us today. Latin Plaza was launched in June 2018 as a public diplomacy platform of the Latin American Bureau of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Korea, to provide wide open opportunities for Korean nationals and abroad to get closer understanding of Latin American countries, as well as the relationship between Korea and Latin America. In this regard, today's Latin Plaza undoubtedly will serve us as a window to better understand our friend country, Mexico, and Mexico's contribution to the Korean War, especially in the year commemorating the 70th anniversary of the Korean War. Before getting us started, let us have a moment of silence for those who sacrificed their lives in the Korean War. I'd like to invite all of you to rise from your seats for a moment of silence. Moment of silence. As you are. Thank you. Please be seated. Now, let's begin today's event by having Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Kim Gon, who will address his welcoming speech. Please welcome Deputy Minister Mr. Kim Gon to the podium of the
Distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a great pleasure for me to take part in Latin Plaza today. I'd like to express my sincere gratitude to all those who have joined us today. First of all, I saw on the news this morning that an earthquake occurred last night in southern Mexico. I sincerely hope that there will be no further casualties and the damages will not be severe. In this time of trouble, our hearts are with the people of Mexico. And taking this opportunity, in remembrance of the Korean War, which broke out 70 years ago, I would like to pay respect to the souls of patriots and veterans who sacrificed their lives to defend the freedom and peace of our nation. Latin Plaza was launched in June 2018 as a public diplomacy platform of the Latin American Bureau of Foreign Ministry. Our aim was to provide more opportunities for Korean nationals to get a closer understanding of Latin American countries. Today's event is possible thanks to Ambassador Figueroa's wholehearted research on Korea, and especially Korean War. He will share many untold stories about Mexicans' contributions to the Korean War. Although Mexico is not counted as one of the 16 countries who fought under the United Nations flag in the Korean War, stories about Mexican veterans as members of the U.S. Army have been partially known to the public through media and scholarly research. But upon his official arrival in Korea, Ambassador Figueroa began conducting further studies and research for the past few years. He hopes that Mexicans' invaluable contribution to the Korean War could be properly evaluated and introduced to the world. In this regard, Today's Latin Plaza, despite its informal character, will undoubtedly serve as a window to introduce the brave stories of Mexican veterans for the first time to the Korean public. It is my sincere wish that today's event will be an opportunity to reaffirm that Korea and Mexico are long-lasting friends. We have a deep and firm history of fighting together, as well as sharing common values. In Mexico, there is a saying like this: if one gets close to a good tree, there will be a good shadow. I am certain that our two countries will continue to nurture our bilateral partnership into a well-grown tree that will benefit both our peoples and the international community. Last but not least, I would like to extend once again my deepest gratitude to all the Korean War veterans for their noble sacrifice and dedication. Thank you very much.
Now, let me invite Ambassador Mr. Bruno Figueroa, who will give you today's presentation, to the front seat. Firstly, Ambassador, allow me to ask you a couple of questions. We all know you are the Ambassador of Mexico today, but can you briefly introduce yourself to the public?
Yes, thank you very much. I am a career diplomat, now 33 years of service, that's a lot. And I arrived in Korea a little more than 3 years ago, in April 2017. And I am still very excited with the width and depth of our bilateral relations.
Thank you. What made you to conduct a research on the Mexicans' participation to the Korean War? When did you start and how did it go?
Well, I will start with a personal story, if you allow me. When I was a boy, my father had a friend who combated in Korea. He was a war veteran. And I remember that when we were together with him, and if there was a big noise, for instance, a truck passing by, he suddenly would freeze and cover his ears for some minutes. He also suffered from depression. And at the time, of course, I couldn't understand what happened to him. That was too abstract for me, too far away in time and in space. But when I was posted to Korea, so little more than 3 years ago, I remembered this friend of my father, and I promised myself to dig up the story of Mexicans because I was sure he was not alone. But time passed by with so many busy activities as an ambassador. And at the end of last year, when suddenly I realized that 2020 was going to be the 70th anniversary of the beginning of the war, I said, now it's time to look for this. So I mobilized my friends in the foreign ministry in Mexico. I had contacts in the United States. Our embassy also started doing some research in Washington, D.C. And little by little, we got amazing information that I want to share with you this morning. Unfortunately, COVID-19 stopped the research a few months ago in Mexico and in the United States. But anyway, I am sure that what we already have will be of the interest of everybody.
Thank you. Now it's time to listen to the presentation of Ambassador. As I invite Ambassador to the podium, please give him a big round of applause.